MGTV, η ομογένεια κοντά σας.
Βρισκόμαστε στο Δημαρχείο της Νέας Υόρκης και είμαστε εδώ πέρα για να εορτάσουμε την 25η Μαρτίου, την απελευθέρωση της Ελλάδος μας από το τουρκικό ζυγό, και ερχόμαστε να τιμήσουμε την ημέρα και συγχαίρω τους πολιτικούς μας και τον αγαπητό Κωνσταντινίδη, ο οποίος αφιερώνει κάθε χρόνο αυτή την ημέρα να βρεθούμε μόλις εδώ και κάθε χρόνο με προσκαλεί να ξεκινήσω και εγώ με την προσευχή. Για τον ευχαριστώ για αυτή την πρωτοβουλία που έχει πάρει και ευχόμαστε σε όλους χρόνια πολλά για την ημέρα του Μαρτίου και ευχόμαστε για την πατρίδα μας Ελλάδα να είναι πάντα ελεύθερη, γιατί το πνεύμα της ελευθερίας από εκεί έρχεται και μετά απλώνεται σε όλη τη γη. Χρόνια πολλά.
Tonight, we celebrate our history as well as to recognize where we are going. I'd like to wish everyone a great start to Lent as we prepare ourselves for Easter in the coming weeks. First, I want to bring up Annette Artani to sing our two national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our land was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Συγνωρίζ αποθηκόψη του σπαθιού την τρομερή, σε γνωρίζω από την όψη που με διάμετρα τη γη κι απ' τα κόκαλα βγαλμένη των Ελλήνων τα ιερά και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χαίρο ελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χαίρο ελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χαίρο ελευθεριά.
Thank you, Annette, for that wonderful singing of anthems. And now I'm going to bring Father Victorios to do our invocation from St. Demetrius in Astoria.
I'd like to thank our councilman, Kostas Konstantinidis, and Paul Malone, which both of them are taking on the initiative every year to invite us here on this day, so that we can celebrate at City Hall our heritage, our Independence Day. That's a testimony of how they are representing the constituents and we are grateful for your efforts to bring us to City Hall, because this is ultimately our home as a city. Thank you. Let us give thanks for being fortunate to live in this great country, the United States of America, a nation that has fought to provide freedom to all its citizens. We're also grateful to our ancestors of the Greek Republic who introduced democracy and liberty for all. Let your countenance shine upon them, grant eternal rest to those who are now departed from the world as a result of their struggle in the name of freedom. Remember, Lord, those who will still struggle in the name of freedom and are suffering in captivity. Lastly, we beseech you, O Lord, to enlighten our minds with the light of your knowledge and to guide us in the way of your commandments to return this fallen world to its original state of perfection. We ask this, O Lord, in your name. Your name is holy, now and forever, and to the ages of ages. Amen.
Thank you, Father Nicarius, and thank you for what you do for the Greek American community and for all of our communities in New York City. You know, St. Demetrius is the place where I was baptized, it's the place where I grew up. I played Goya at St. Demetrius, won a couple of championships there. Just putting that out there. But I even got to see you marry my district director, Nikki Kokinos, just about a week ago. You did a wonderful job. And I'm very grateful to have Nikki on my team, and she's been a great addition and a great public servant in that time. So while I'm not getting stopped in the streets of Astoria, I spend a lot of time there trying to pass laws to make our district a better place. And as the first Greek American to sit in this room as a city council member, I recognize that I stand on the shoulders of giants. I recognize that I am lucky in that I get to represent a community that has done so much to help build this city, to make it the city that it is, and every day continues to make the city what it continues to be through hard work, through giving back to their community, through sacrificing for one's neighbor. That's what it's all about. Stories in the heart of our city's Greek American community. It's not, it is the largest grouping of Greeks outside of Greece in the world. And people flock from all over to come to Astoria, to come to Bay Ridge, to come to College Point, to Whitestone. And tonight we're going to celebrate our Greek heritage, all of the Greek communities, all the Greek contributors to the Greek American diaspora who helps make us a better place. So first, I will bring forward an amazing individual in Dr. Florentina ХРΙΣΤΟΔΟΥΛΙΔΟΥ, or Dr. Dia, as she's better known. I call her Dr. Dia all the time. She came to the United States to finish her education at the University of Thessaloniki School of Medicine in Greece. Dr. Dia, like many Greeks, settled in Astoria and began to practice there in 1990. For the last 30 years, she's helped the Western Queens community, especially empowering women. When women couldn't afford exams or for breast cancer or cervical cancer, Dr. Dia steps up and makes sure that they were screened. She has saved countless lives through her diligence and charity and advocacy. She is active in the Pan-Cyprian Association, serving as the president of the group's Women's Issues Network, which had their gala on Saturday night. She was already recognized as Woman of the Year, and rightfully so for all that she does. I am proud to add tonight, honoring her here with those accolades. And I want to speak. When I told someone I was honoring Dr. Dia, the first thing they said to me is, she saved my best friend's life. And I was like, how so? And they told me the story, well, he came from Greece, he didn't have a lot of money, and she got him a screening. And because of that, he lived. That story is a story that continues to repeat itself over and over and over again with Dr. Dia. She gives of herself. It's not about the money from her practice, it's the good that she can do. So for that, I'm so proud to honor her this evening at City Hall. So Dr. Dia, if you come forward, we can give you the proclamation.
Thank you for this great honor, Councilmember Stanimidis. I feel
Jewish community. And Councilmember Brennan, who's also listed as one of our co-sponsors, was not able to be here tonight, but he sends his best, and he promises me that next year he will be here. We're going to hold that against him, right? We're going to make sure. So we're going to remember he said that. But I thank you for his partnership, and I want to bring forward now, as I talked about before, my brother, who has done this with us every year, and the Vlone family who has done this year after year for 4 years and I can count. Paul Vlone, Councilmember.
Tikani sweaters, kalispera. Let's hear it for our great Councilmember Costa Costa. There is truly a bond between us, between the communities. I really believe the Greek and Italian communities have always been one. We always bring our family, our faith, and our culture together wherever we go. Look at tonight. The Father's beautiful words. That's okay, we can pour it for our lives. We start everything with our faith. We're here with our families, pride in the work that we do. We're saying we're never retired, and we keep working. My father, still to this day, 45 years has been a belonging council. So it hit me a little later on what a privilege that is to continue that. And a night like tonight really takes that pride of who we are. And we thank Costa for doing that, because before he started tonight, it didn't exist. Just like I'm one of the last Italian council members, we started that event also with Columbus Day. And when's our parade this year, Costa? April 14th, we'll be going up Fifth Avenue, correct? That's right, so we're going to celebrate our independence and our heritage together. So it's with pride we have a night like tonight. And it's one that we show the entire city how proud we are as a Greek community of all the accomplishments, of all the thriving communities from, like Costa said, from Astoria all the way out to Little Douglas and Bayside, Whitestone, and Meade. We have 2 thriving parishes in Holy Cross and St. Nick's. We have a community that's constantly involved in small business, with families, with the parishes, with the church. So tonight we honor that. We heard from Dr. Peter tonight for all her accomplishments. And tonight I wanted to honor one of the organizations that for over 35 years has really been the beacon for us here in New York City. And I was very proud and honored to always work with, I have one of their centers in College Point. I have to say it's the happiest senior center in all of the city. New York City's largest and most successful social service organizations, touching the lives of nearly 35,000 individuals annually with a wide range of programs and services, diverse and multi-ethnic communities throughout our city. ANAC's programs and services include developing and managing affordable senior housing, like we were talking about, child and family counseling services, senior programs, senior transportation, workforce development and education, weatherization programs, immigrant programs, after-school and youth programs, and extended social service programs. The impact of ANAC's services extends far beyond nearly 35,000 individuals. Each contact only affects the life of the program participant, but their family, friends, and the neighborhood. And I can singly attest to that for the work that Mom and everything that happens at our little but massive College Point firehouse, where we have so many different programs going on there. It's a testament to what you can do with the right organization behind it. So even though it's in a small building, it has the biggest heart. So Andy, thank you for what you've always done with our family. You know, you and my father have a very special bond. It's like brother and sister at this point. And we thank you for always welcoming the family and continuing that tradition. So with honor tonight, receiving on behalf of ANAC is Nikos Nikolidis. Nikos is here today.
first, I would like to say that I am honored today to receive this proclamation on behalf of Canada. And first, I would like to thank New York City Council Member Paul Malone. Thank you. The Speaker of New York City Council, Cody Johnson, who is not here, but I would like to thank you. Council Member Costa Constantinidis. Council Member Justin Brown for hosting today's British Independence Day celebration. I would also like to express HANAC's gratitude and appreciation for your support, so we can continue to provide the essential and much-needed services to the people of New York City. HANAC is a not-for-profit social service agency founded by the late Mr. George Kiduris in Victoria, New York in 1972. HANAC's mission has evolved over the years into a citywide, multi-social service agency addressing the needs of the elderly, youth, families, new immigrants from diverse ethnic backgrounds and cultures. Today, HANAC provides services to over 35,000 clients annually. It serves the needs of diverse communities by ensuring access to services geographically, culturally, and linguistically. Western Queens has always been HANAC's primary service area, with additional sites in Upper Manhattan and the Bronx. In addition, HANAC has built and owned 4 senior housing with 600 affordable units and working into new possibilities in order to help to resolve the tremendous need of affordable housing in New York City. Some of the programs of HANAC are youth services, as we mentioned, senior centers, senior programs, adult education, employment services, weatherization services, immigration programs, and counseling services. Finally, during the 38 years that I personally worked for HANAC, I have seen the growth and development of this organization. I also witnessed the thousands of people who benefited and appreciated our services. HANAC will continue to serve the people of New York City with the same care and passion as we did for the past 47 years. Thank you. Ζήτω η Ελλάδα, ζήτω η Κύπρος και God bless America.
We need more spaces to be able to do the culture, to have those performances to help enrich our community. So I want to bring forward the Academy of Hellenic Padilla Dance Troupe and acknowledge their amazing principal, Dimitra Varsami, the founder and president of the Hellenic Padilla. And they wanted to I'm going to read their mission, which is truly profound. It is their mission to encourage learning by the use of classical Hellenic tradition of Padilla via the venerable Greek language. By guiding each child's mind by what amuses them, we can better discover and nourish their unique genius, and in an effort to promote their fullest human potential of mind, body, and spirit. That is an amazing mission. I wanted to make sure we read that this evening. So with that, I will bring forward the Academy of Hellenic Padilla Dance Troupe. Sadly, the Klan still is menacing immigrants throughout our great country, but ΑΗΕΠA continues their great work as well, spreading the gospel of love and tolerance and standing up for what is right. And our honoree, Chapter 25, is that largest affiliate, so that's newly christened, right? The largest affiliate of ΑΗΕΠA in the country. This group has walked that delicate line of assimilating into the United States while preserving their Greek American values of self-improvement, love of family, and civic virtue. ΑΗΕΠA embodies that famous Greek word, philanthropy, the love of helping others. This organization has raised more than $400,000 to help restore Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. They preserved this place where many of our ancestors became new Americans themselves, as well as the international symbol of opportunity and prosperity here in New York. The Statue of Liberty is still a beacon of hope for new Greeks who have settled here in our great city, and they've found a better life amid many challenges. Our community is so much richer for having organizations like ΑΗΕΠA to stand up for us. So I want to congratulate ΑΗΕPA on their great work, on their newly christened being the largest chapter in the country, but honor them today for their great work. Bring forward the President, for the proclamation and remarks.
I'd first like to say that we're not the largest chapter in the country, we're actually the largest chapter in the world. The council members, and just to speak a few words, not so much about AIPA, but about us as Americans, because the first word in AIPA is American. It's the American organization. So let me just say one thing, that I'm honored to be here to represent the AIPA. The first Greek Independence Day event that took place in this particular building was in 1893, a little bit over 125 years ago, and it was the first time that they raised the Hellenic flag right on top of City Hall. So it's an event that they would have every year in the beginning. And the first parades actually were not down Fifth Avenue, obviously, they were down Broadway. And for those who know the history of this particular area, the Hellenic community was actually west of Broadway, what was known as Little Syria, and east of the Brooklyn Bridge, all the way up to Manhattan Bridge. And that's why you have those two churches that we have here today. St. Nicholas, which is the only church that fell during 9/11. And also St. Barbara's, which is near the foot of the Manhattan Bridge. I want to talk tonight about Philhellenes, American Philhellenes. And in this particular hall, we have some of the best representatives of those Philhellenes. For example, we have Jefferson, the statue of Jefferson who's here. We have George Washington. We have Lafayette, another Philhellene. And many people don't realize the relationship between the Hellenic people and the American people. It goes back even before the Revolution, as a matter of fact. When we talk about, for example, Jefferson, when he was the President of the United States, we had trouble. We had the Barbary pirates in northern Africa. And as a matter of fact, when we were a commercial nation, we were trying to trade. And basically, because of the Barbary pirates, 10% of our annual revenue had to go to the pirates, basically, to allow the ships to come in. Finally, Jefferson said no, and you had what we call the Barbary Wars in northern Africa. The most famous battle, and the first battle of Americans outside of the United States, was actually in that area. It was actually in Tripoli. And we all remember the famous song of the Marines that basically talks about from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. But one thing that some people don't realize is, and this was during Jefferson's time, that when the Marines were there in the Battle of Darnur, which was the first battle that was fought by America, outside of America, there were 10 Marines that fought, and there were 50 Greeks that fought with them. And they were basically mustered in Alexandria in Egypt, and that was the first victory of the United States outside of the continental United States. The first actually monument that was created, in fact, was for that battle. And it was outside the capital of the United States, and now it's outside of the U.S. military facilities. So let me talk a little bit about the history of the American Philhellenes and the Hellenic War of Independence, because I think it's very important now that we celebrate, in this particular day, Greek independence. Specifically, there was always a linkage between our people. As a matter of fact, from the beginning of this country, if you look at our architecture, if you look at democracy that we talk about, they always looked to Greece, and in terms of philosophy, in terms of art, in terms of architecture. So our linkage goes way back. When Greece declared, or when the people of Greece Greece declared their independence, understand, no nation in the world was supporting us. No nation in the world was supporting us. By that I mean in Europe. No one had declared to support us. And the reason why they didn't do it was because it was a post-Napoleonic age. And in that particular time, no one wanted to hear the word revolution in Europe. And as a matter of fact, don't forget, there were the monarchies throughout Europe. You had kings, and you had the Sultan. They did not want the Greeks to win the War of Independence. There was only one nation, in fact, that spoke up for the Hellenic people as a nation. They couldn't send troops or anything of that nature because they had laws within the United States that they did not want to fight a European war. But most of the most famous Americans at that particular time spoke about the Greek Revolution and to support it. We had Thomas Jefferson, for example, that we mentioned. Thomas Jefferson had many discussions with Adamantios Korais, for example, who was based in Paris. They discussed revolution and things of that nature. Americans understood what it meant to be a revolution. Americans understood what it meant to be free. Americans understood what it meant to be under slavery. And here in these halls, right outside, a few steps from here, where the body of Abraham Lincoln was sitting here for a period of time after his death. We understand what it meant as Americans. So you had famous Americans. You had, for example, John Adams spoke eloquently about the Hellenic Revolution. James Monroe, Daniel Webster, Henry Clay. And their speeches, and it's very important that you go back home and you look at those speeches and understand those relationships that we had. And again, in terms of Hellenism, understand that America actually voted to have the Greek language potentially be the language of the United States. They lost by a few votes, but we almost, all of us maybe have been speaking Greek, by this particular time. There were Americans that in fact, early on, fought on the Hellenic side. You had, for example, George Jarvis, who was known as Kapitan Zebras. Okay, George basically left right at the beginning of the revolution. He went into Greece. As a matter of fact, within a few months, he was also captured, and he was exchanged for some Ottoman Turks that were also captured. And he became one of the great heroes, actually, of the revolution. He fought, for example, with Karaskakis. He wore the fustanella. He spoke the Hellenic language. And in fact, he was there when Karaskakis was killed, and he was a lieutenant general in the Hellenic army. We have, of course, the famous Dr. Samuel Howe, who, when he graduated from Harvard with his medical degree, he went to Greece and became a surgeon for the Greek army, and eventually became the chief surgeon of the Greek army. We have a portrait here of George Washington. We had a relative of his, actually, William Washington, who went to Greece to fight in Greece and actually died in the Battle of Balaamidi. We had other great Americans, George Wilson. We had James Williams, an African-American slave, formerly slave, who left Baltimore and went to Greece, joined the Hellenic Navy, and died in the battles outside of Naupakos. We have many Americans, and again, we had George Washington's relatives. We have another portrait here, we said Lafayette. And again, Lafayette was one of the Philhellenes that supported the Hellenic cause, and we know, obviously, what Lafayette did for us in the United States during the beginning days. So what do we have to say about Americans? And what do we have to say about Hellenes? There is a common bond between us. And we talked about some people who went, and there are many heroes, many people who went and fought for us. But that common bond is basically people to people also. Because you had, for example, in the United States, in New York here, people, regular people, raised all types of money for the revolution. As a matter of fact, they had a ball in New York where they charged $5 per person. They had 2,000 people who came, and they sent $10,000 actually for the Greek war effort. So, as we discussed, it should not be forgotten, the generous outpouring of moral, intellectual, financial support uniteness of the American people during this conflict. And the important thing you should come out with today is not so much that this is the Hellenic Revolution, that's only for Hellenic people, but this is also for American people. This holiday is also an American holiday, because there were many Americans who went, fought, and died in the Hellenic Republic, and certainly we had a lot of people who were supporting us during that period. The other thing to keep in mind is the orphans that the Americans supported. There were thousands of orphans after the War of Independence, and many of those orphans actually were adopted here in the United States. Some of them became extremely famous. For example, George Horesis, who came here as a young boy. He was adopted here, and he became an admiral in the United States Navy. We have, for example, Lucas Miltiades, who was adopted by Miller, who also fought in Greece. And Lucas became the first representative, Hellenic American representative in the United States Congress. And he was one of those orphans. We have Dr. John Zappos, for example. Dr. John Zappos. Dr. John Zappos was a professor. He came here as a child. He was educated here in the United States, was a professor at Cooper Union, and became very famous within that area. He was the guy that also, for those who don't know, developed the stenotype that lawyers, those of you who are lawyers and talk about stenography and all that, and the stenotype, Dr. John Zappos developed that. So we can talk on and on about this, but I think what's important is that, you know what, I should mention this also because it's very important. A few of you are Cypriots, and I have to thank you for that, because, and I have to thank you, Councilman, because the Cypriots had 3 ships that Canaris brought in, and there was over 1,500 Cypriots who came into mainland Greece to fight in the revolution. And Cyprus, although they're not shown in any portraits, let's say, that we had for Delacroix, for example, for the massive genocide that took place in Chios, there was a genocide also in Cyprus, because the Cypriots did in fact rebel during the revolution, and in fact many of them were killed. All their major religious leaders were hung actually in the main plazas of Cyprus. So we thank you, we thank the Cypriot people, we thank all the Hellenic people. And just as final words, I will say, may Cyprus be united and free. God bless America, and Zito Yalos.
Thank you for all that you do. Thank you to ＡΗΠΑ and the Greek, we have the Cypriot flag, the Greek flag, and the American flag, all united this evening, as they should be. So thank you. We've reached the end of our program. I want to thank you all for coming this evening to celebrate our Greek heritage and Greek independence. We have a parade coming up on April 14th, so there'll be no shortage of opportunities to celebrate. I want to thank all of our wonderful honorees this evening, Dr. Dia, ħANC, and ＡΗΠA District 25 for all that you do. And again, I want to thank my brother, Paul Malone. You can call Malone, our speaker, Corey Johnson, our council member, Justin Brennan, and men and women. Let's give them all really a big round of applause. Men and women who have put this together this evening. And all of the staff, the essential staff, will help do all the work, lay out all the chairs, serve all the food. Thank you for all that you guys do. With that, let's go to the parade on the 14th, and happy Greek Independence, everyone. Look forward to next year right here in
Yes, my name is Stacey Bliagos. I am the new executive director of ħANC. As the two councilmen, as Councilman Vallone and Councilman Kostadinidis mentioned, we are a social services organization that has helped our community for the past 47 years. We look forward to our continued programming within New York City to help future generations within social services. Thank you and Zito Elada.
MGTV USA. Οι δραστηριότητες της ελληνοαμερικανικής κοινότητας με βίντεο και πλήρες ρεπορτάζ. Επισκεφτείτε την ιστοσελίδα μας mgtvusa.com. Καλύπτουμε καθημερινά τα γεγονότα στην Ομογένεια.